Hey, what up, America? What up, world? Welcome to a Better Black America podcast, the number one urban podcast, stateside and worldwide. I'm going to say that again. The number one urban podcast, stateside and worldwide. Now, happy Friday to you. Today is Friday, March 11, 2022. Now, Vice President Harris is in Romania, a neighboring country to Ukraine and NATO ally. Now, remember, Joe Biden is leading the United Allies. Now, NATO, if you don't know, NATO is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Key phrase, term, organization. Sounds a bit mafioso to me. No, really. It sounds a bit mafioso to me. Organized crime on the global level. Now, they have me wondering and pondering, why did we leave Afghanistan? If you pay close attention, Afghanistan has 90% of the world's opioids. That includes oxycodone, morphine, codeine, which is that lean, and the deadly fentanyl, the most powerful painkiller. Now, overdoses have surged due to the counterfeit production of fentanyl. Overdose deaths have tripled amongst teens since the Biden administration has took place, and actually have gone fivefold since the leaving and the departure from Afghanistan, and also the reopening of the southern border, for the drug trafficking and human trafficking. Knocked down the wall. So this organized syndicate, let's call it that, the United Allies, this is a distraction at the highest level. Now, have you ever sat back and wondered, what am I being distracted from? What am I missing? Am I being played? Sometimes you'll get an eerie feeling and you'll see something that just doesn't feel right. And then you're like, okay, you start looking around. Okay, it's like, is this the moment? Like, what's going on right here? So our consciousness from a spiritual perspective is making us really look at what we can do here in America while the entire world is being distracted abroad. The spotlight is overseas and in another place where it's big money. It's affecting the economy. While I was watching President Biden speak this morning, the stock market was responding. The Dow was going up. But what are they distracting us from? Now, we understand the programming of the media and what's going on. And when it comes to our, politically being involved, it seems like we only get involved, every 4 years, or should I say every election cycle. But that's changing right now. Because before we were pretty much reactive. And when you react, you're too late. Now, if somebody throw you a ball, you have to catch it. But if you're proactive, you're the one throwing the ball. You're the one that's premeditating and preconditioning the minds of God's people. And I have to say this because, as long as you believe in a higher power than yourself, you can be my friend. Even if you don't, just know that there's something higher than you. And if it's negative, pessimistic, a grand distractor, then that's the other guy. Because the one that we rock with is the number one, numero uno, the best, Mr. Excellence, the greatest, most high. So this is why our confidence as humans, and I hear this a lot, the human element. We know from a humanitarian perspective, shooting bombs and targeting colleges and targeting maternity wards. And I'm hearing the word genocide float around. There's no such thing of genocide when you are the majority when it comes to race. That issue of what's going on to me, okay? And this is me just saying this and going on record. That whole entire incident is just based on Vladimir Putin wanting to expand his country and not wanting a NATO ally country sharing a border with him. And that's it in a nutshell. But since we want to use this as a grand distraction to reset the system, to distract God's people who literally have been removed from a biblical curse for over 3 years, get them to focus and get them to stand for Ukraine and get them to donate money to, Ukrainian efforts. I saw something today where they actually raised the sum of $3 million within a 24-hour period. And it's like a ticker and they're going to keep going. And that's for Ukraine. So we're doing what we do with our pennies. Conservatives of America-COA.org. We'll take your pennies. But what it's doing is, to those who wish not to be distracted, is getting us to see the blueprints of nations, of how things are done. If you want land, you kill the people. Not only you kill the people, because what's going on, just say if you are fortunate and one of the influence in the terms of class, because this looks like it has to be a class thing, because when you're dealing with white on white, is class. Because Biden did say that he's taxing diamonds. He's stopping the trading of diamonds, that he's repossessing their yachts, their multi-million-dollar boats. And he's not going to use Russian fur and Russian vodka. And then he talked about Russian fish. I don't know if Russian fish gets distributed here, but as long as they can fish and sell vodka and fish in their country, they'll be fine. But all this is Vladimir Putin wanting to get the old USSR back. Now, I was doing a little research and I basically looked at the old USSR map. This pretty much was the whole span and the top of everything outside of those Polish and Italy. And so basically he's just trying to push the line, because when you have a situation where the president of the United States is not only president of the United States, but he's the face of NATO, this North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And think about treaty, the word treaty. I think it will be cool for us to not be distracted and somehow have a conversation about a treaty here in America, because it's not out the question. The Trail of Tears was a treaty between the red Native Americans and the United States of America. And we'll talk about some of these things down the road, because in Oklahoma, a lot of the land for Black Wall Street was purchased from the Red Indians, because there was black tribes here. But when they start bringing the slaves over, the native black tribes looked just like them. So it was just, not guilty by association, but just connecting that those your people. Because look what you guys have established before. Because when you talk about Thanksgiving, I mean, they smoked some herb, ate turkey, sweet potatoes, yams, way back then. But the treaty, when you have a organization that's fighting just for something specific, this is how we win. We're looking at it right now, because when Kamala Harris said she's not going to do nothing just for white people, by her being in Romania today, saying she stand with Ukraine, she clearly would do something just for white people. No, that's not funny. Literally, just for white people. And that's okay. Because we are here in America and we see what's going on. And like I said, when you look at television, the programming, and I'm going to start using that word because somebody mentioned that and I'm like, wait a minute. They do say for your next broadcasting or stay tuned for your next programming. And that programming is basically them programming us any kind of which way they want to. And here comes the curve. I'm about to throw a curve drop right now. And what I'm saying, the programming yesterday, I know I'm not the only one who saw the Channel 5 news, and they said this brawl of over 100 students on the campus of Crenshaw High School got you upset. It really did. And then I had family members working on that campus, 100 people fighting. What's going on? I didn't understand it. But I did say that I was going to reach out to the dean. And I text the dean my reaction on the podcast about this brawl with 100 students on the campus of Crenshaw High School. My alma mater, fighting 100 people on the news. And I saw it and I was angry. And he texted me back and said, man, the news lied. It wasn't no fight with involved 109 students. And I quote that. He said it was a girl that fought 5 different females that just kind of picked, not literally picked a fight, but went after the females that she had an issue with. And the school, people was around and they pretty much showed a video. And when I watched the news, I didn't see anything on the first video that was really, it looked like it was something like a little pushing match between people. There was a whole bunch of people when they said a brawl. I'm thinking the tape was so bad that they couldn't even show us. But I'm letting you know the influence of the fake news. That was fake news. I got it straight from the source. Fake news. That was literally fake news. The mother did, call out the female, but she walked out. Clearly, there was no other footage or incident after she left the classroom. But then the issue with the girls on campus, that was clearly fake news. So I have to redact that. Especially if if you're following on the podcast, if you enjoy listening, while you're working out or just, subtle, because with the training, the morning type stuff, you got to keep it, a relaxing. It's radio. So you got to be able to relax and, and that's what the tone is we're talking about. But that was some fake news, clearly some fake news. And I'm appalled. I'm really appalled. Because if I did not get that information, I would have really assumed the worst. And this is what the programming is. They give you that headline, that clickbait, and then they show you some footage to support it. And then they'll cut the tape and then your mind goes off. And now we on a whole nother level being distracted. The dad police was patrolling the community yesterday. Because they was afraid because they saw the same thing that I saw. Dads driving around, parking their cars, making sure, that everything is okay on the ground, on the street level. Because dads and fathers have a connection with the youth, and just our presence and how we carry ourselves is the respect that they give us. But if we are some, trying to be OG and trying to be hard and all that, man, they'll bust a cap so fast. It's all about respect. And this is why the content of our character has to be put back in our frontal lobe when it comes to what we do from our moralist movement perspective and what we're charging, the Biden administration, the president of the United Allies. And he said, God bless Ukraine and God bless our troops. Did not say God bless America. I'm going to leave that right there. Because he's the president and the